Hey guys, that was an ordeal. Hey Bill, Stuart, g'day, Peter Donald, g'day. Mark Osborne, hello. Stuart, hello, made it. For some reason, Sunday's the first day of the week, I believe. Maybe. For some reason, my camera orientation or my phone orientation was locked to portrait mode and I couldn't stream because it didn't let me, because I had the stream set to landscape mode. So sorry about that, but here we are. One of those things. I appreciate your patience. I'm here in the shed. I'm staffed, basically. I'm done. Pretty much close to. I've got stuff happening. A lot of stuff going down. Have got a workbench set up again, which is really nice, and another cabinet there full of stuff. There's another one of them to go here. And this paint cabinet's probably going somewhere else or locked up outside or something. I don't know. We'll see. Don't know where that red toolbox is going because it's a fairly new acquisition. No plans. I've got some G clamps on the wall. Um, 3D printer's going. We did a big end bearing for 8 horsepower Marshall last night on Shape Live, and that's being printed. So we managed to get the time down quite considerably to about 6 hours something, and we're 12% in or something. So that's going. That'll be good. We had dark green filament, so that's what we're doing. Lathe bench has got a coat of primer on it. We're back, John. Sorry about that. Didn't miss it. Didn't miss anything. My camera wouldn't stream sideways. New coat of varnish on the bench top for the lathe. The main thought behind doing this. Oh my gosh. Feeling a bit sort of done, actually, to be honest. It bolts back on the base of the lathe, and this bolts back on top. Hey, Scott. At some point, we're going to bolt this on. It's got 4 screws up through the bottom. And then this goes on, but that doesn't go on as well as this. So we're going to have to modify that, the feet on that frame, give it a clean up and a coat of paint maybe, and put it all back together. I don't know whether I'm going to paint it or whether I'm just going to clean it up or what I'm going to do. But we have bits and pieces here everywhere. It's less chaotic than it was. This goes around, as we know, this goes around this hole here, something like this. And all this has been tacked, but it needs a good clean up and some filler. So I'm going to have to find some sand and discs to do that and put a coat of paint on it. Apparently this aluminium rod wasn't particularly good. So he managed to tack it up. But it's an average sort of a job, he says. This tacked really nice around here. Casting went on really nice on there. But it's going to need some clean up and some paint and filler before that goes on. And we want to put that on and position the other around it and cut a piece out to match this. And then we can start putting the drip tray and the swarf tray and the lathe and paint it back on. I haven't got any paint stripper in stock, I don't think, so I'm going to have to find some this weekend when I get somewhere to do that. That's the state of play with that. It needs a good clean up, but there it is. My cabinet here had a trip from Queensland. I got here, it's probably the heaviest thing in the workshop. But this lock's fallen apart here for some reason. Not real happy with that, but this top drawer doesn't open, which is a problem. So I'm going to have to do something about that too and fix it. Don't know what. None of the floor's got flat here, so I've got some plastic wedges and wooden wedges and things to put under stuff. But at some point, this lock here on this cabinet's going to need some work so that I can actually get this open. Might pull the lock out even, or we might fix it properly. Don't know. So all that stuff goes back in the cabinet. It can't until we fix that. So that's that. We have a spark plug display cabinet. I got a couple of new spark plugs that's in the car, so you can't see them. At some point we'll show you. They're not very exciting. They were $2 each or something. So, yeah. They're both French, put it that way, but not particularly exciting French plugs. Don't know where I'm going to put that, what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to put that in my living quarters or whether I'm going to leave it in the shed or what the story is. No idea about that. What else are we doing? We're starting to put stock back in the offcuts rack. There's a fair bit more to go. I've slowly been putting stuff in and emptying boxes. Bit of a job. Still got two crappy little shelf units here that I don't know whether I'm going to put up or throw away or what yet. Probably throw away. They did have my tool chests on them, but I haven't as yet. Even thought about where I'm going to put them because I've got 3 tool chests that's got to go somewhere. So, don't know. Don't know if they're going to be an option, really. These boxes here, I believe, are workshop stuff, these yellow boxes. No idea what to do with them. Welding Consumables went there in the corner only because that was a place to put them. It's not really their forever home. Best not to ask about the flywheel, it's not mine. We'll explain further in a minute. So I've got a rag cutter there. Shed dentist is probably a French idea, yes. A rag cutter there, that's got to go on the wall somewhere. It'd be a very useful thing to have. Haven't as yet put it up. So it was bought here for the shed, and then the shed was a little while coming, so when I packed up I found it and put it aside. Lathes down there in the corner. We'll zoom in on that rather than walk over there because I'm not in the mood. Behind it here is the parts anyway of the Bay of Peacock engine. Lathes here, it's got a broken oiler we're going to have to do something about, and all the rest of the bits needs a coat of paint before it all goes back together. I think I've got paint for it and everything. I've just got to strip it off and clean it, put it back together. Tupperware and stuff's on there. Hey, T&B. Stuff there, don't know what I'm doing with it. Not sure yet. I think most of it will probably have my groceries packed in it in the other kitchen. At some point, probably on Friday when I go grocery shopping. So that'll fix that. A reminder, we are collecting bottles and cans for scrap. So there's 3 bags of them there. anyone who wants the PayPal address to pay into their bottles and cans charity of choice, being Shannondale Steam Shed, hit me up. I'll find it for you. I think this box has abrasives in it. I've got no idea. Bit limited with that. Mrs. Stuart Mackey's, Hinley. Hinley, it's about 5, it might be a 6 horsepower single cylinder stationary engine with a pump on it. It's a nice little engine. The governor, there's the flywheel off it over there. That arrived here on Saturday, I think it was Saturday, something like that. How many members our club have? 7 or 8 or something, 7 I think, 8 at the moment. Very welcome to sign up, associate or other, or full member. Appreciate any signing up. Now, I went to close my Kennedy signature box, which is down here, and discovered that one side lock, I'm just going to point, one side lock is actually damaged, so it needs replacing or repairing, and I can't find the keys for it. Now, I'm going to have a bit more of a look, because maybe the keys are here. It's chock-a-block full of crap, and it needs a good clean out. But the lock needs something doing with it, and I don't know how that happened or what happened. I wasn't aware that there was a problem with it till I went to close it, because it hasn't really been shut or moved since I put it back where I found it, where I picked it up from on Saturday. So, going to have a look on the Kennedy website, see if I can find some keys anyway, but they should be in the top of the tool chest. I thought that's where they were, but they don't seem to be. They could be on a key ring somewhere. Haven't really had a good look for them there either. Don't know. Do have a bottle of Argan. Here we go. Here's a bit of a cross off the list thing. I'm not having a good day with locks at all, yeah. Got a bottle of Argan, so TIG welding is in our future reasonably soon, as soon as I can get set up somewhere. A bit of a mess with that. Get enough practice in to get good at it again, maybe. Now I have the equipment to TIG. I'm not sure I can TIG because it's been a while. In fact, there's a pretty reasonable chance I can't. There'll be a lot of scrap steel before we get up to speed on that, but we're going to have a go. So there's a bottle of Argan. This Craftsman box down here underneath the 2 indicators and the box of assorted parts and the project box on top that needs to go upstairs. Stuart's not really like riding a bike, I don't think. One thing that it's not is like riding a bike. It's going to take me a bit to get up to speed. Little Craftsman box is full. I brought that back from America. Full of tools once. It needs putting on a bench, and that one and that beach over there needs to go on a bench. So I'd like room for the 3, I don't know, a cabinet or something for the 3 tool chests. Because they've mostly this one's got mostly measuring gear in it, except for another box and that cabinet, white cabinet over there. There's a lot of measuring equipment. This one's screwdrivers and stuff. It needs a good clean out. That one's empty at this point, but I'm starting to put stuff in it. So that's kind of what's happening. The milling machine trolley's starting to fill up again. eventually. I've got things like this too that are going to have to go somewhere. There's my Hotshot 360 oven here. It's got to go somewhere. No idea where. I believe that this filing cabinet over here is mine to put stuff in. It's not particularly useful, but it is a decent filing cabinet with high sides. Most of them aren't. So it's quite a good cabinet, and it actually has keys, which is probably a whole lot better. Do they work? Don't know. They go in and they do it. It doesn't say that it works. Maybe it's because the bottom drawer's not shut. So I can shut the bottom drawer and then turn it. Well, the lock turns, but nothing happens. So I don't know about that. It's one of life's mysteries in the dark over here. So anyway, we can put stuff in that. I don't know what yet or where that's even going to go. I've got another full-size locker, which is similar size to that one. That's Fridge's locker. I've got another full-size one of them, which is World War II era. It's a good locker. And I think the rest of the stuff can go in that. But I'm filling up a fair bit of space. I'm trying not to do that. So we'll see what goes. There might be a clearance sale and we get rid of stuff. I don't know. I just found the other tin of Durham's water putties in the back of that cupboard. So the other tin could go in there as well. I don't know what to do about this paint cabinet. Whether we build a shelf unit around it? Don't know. Still stretching, pulling their hair out about that. So that's sort of how we're going with that. Internal camera is probably a really good idea. Wriggle it just a little bit. I'll have a play with it later and see if I can get it sorted. We have a bottle of hydraulic oil for the floor crane. I haven't actually topped that up yet, but we do have a bottle of hydraulic oil apparently, so that's a job that needs doing. Now the Hindley's here. It's a nice little engine. Never asked Bill the odds about a Falcon video. He might be doing something else right now. That's cool. Anyway, there's boxes here everywhere. Most of them need putting away. I'm getting a few boxes put away a day. It's certainly a lot better than it was Sunday. And Sunday was, or Saturday was a whole lot better than it was a fortnight ago. So I nearly had everything put away, and then it's getting there. Big job. I might go out to the car, and I should have done it before live stream. I didn't think of it till about, I was panicking about the car's out here. There's a whole lot of dark out here. Oh no, we've got actual light. And a barbed wire fence. We don't have a key. The key must still be in the door over here, is it? Key is in the door. We unlocked the key. Let's see if I can find a decent torch. Something's going to go beep at us because the lights are on apparently. There's the battery. Now it's not going to like me very much because we're all upside down. We'll close the side door there. That's why the light's on. Let's find a torch. Here we go. Because the driver's side door's open. It's obviously open enough that... Right, so if we come out here and shut the driver's side door, that'd be a good start. There we go, the beep stops. And there we are, we've got a torch. Can you hear the peacock? There's a peacock too, so if anyone wants to rehome a peacock, you gratefully accept the trouble. William Macca's boilers here, requiring a little bit of work. That's arrived too. This is his home boiler. There's no tubes in it, which is a bit of a milestone. So congratulations, William. But he's knocked all these tubes out. So the new tubes are going to be next. And some bungs and things need drilling out and retapping and so forth. Get all up to speed before the 6th of January when the boiler inspector comes back. Now, Stuart Mackey's bought this, one of our members. Right. Any information on this gratefully received. If anyone's ever seen another one, even better. We'll move back here so you can actually see it's quite a tall engine. It's very Victorian. It's Scottish. It's made by Shanks, the lawnmower people. It's not a particularly pretty engine as it stands, and it's got a broken casting. So whether we plate that and put it back together and pretend it's not a water tank, or whether we fabricate another one up out of steel and make it a water tank, or whether we go all out and weld it and hope it doesn't crack somewhere else, which seems like the stupid thing. But anyway, that's a project for a long time in the future. Apparently Shanks had a patent governor and regulator, cut off, and only the body of it's there on the engine. Have a look. I believe that this regulator was worked on the valve cutoff, I think, rather than regulator. I'm not sure about that. The governor worked on the valve cutoff rather than regulator, but no information forthcoming because it's a pretty rare bit of gear. Anyway, it's a Shanks engine. It needs a new crankshaft probably. It's not the original crankshaft. It's got a pump. It's probably original. It's got a cylinder. It's got a regulator / governor body. However that works. It's got no brasses. And it's a bit of a task. But anyway, sure, one day Stuart will be up for it. But don't think it was a particularly expensive engine. But it's a bit unique, and there ain't very many of them. It would have had a nice Victorian 6'6" flywheel, something like 5'6", 6'6" flywheel on one side, and a stationary boiler on that base. So it's a stationary engine, power plant / and all of that's missing. So bit of a job. Yeah, peacocks are like gold. Peacocks are a pretty useless thing, really, but they're here. The mains are missing and the caps. There's no conrod. There is a pump, but that's about it. There's no eccentric, which would have worked here somewhere through the casting. And there's another slot in the casting on the other side, which may have been the governor or something. I don't know how that all worked. Not very many pictures of it, but that's the Shanks engine. I'll stand back so you can really see. But would have had a vertical boiler, something like that sort of size on it. So that's something else that's arrived here. Not my engine, but club members. Bill or Mark and Pete, you're probably right. I think there's two of them actually. Turbo chooks ain't much, you need a pressure cooker. They're a bit tough. And being in a echidna isn't a particularly high stress job, so I reckon they might be all right to eat. I don't know. When I think about stressed out animals, turbo chooks or the Tasmanian native hen is one of those that make the list, so I'm not sure they'd be eatable. They might be. But they're not a calm, rational animal by any means. Hey, James. So that's what's happening. We've got some extra bits here. This roller hasn't had any attention at all, and it really needs to, but I'm trying to put stuff away first. I'm not being particularly good at that, but we are trying. There's lots to do. I guess the big update probably is 1919 that was in Steam this last weekend after about, 12, 15 years, something like that. Might be longer. There was some regulator problems early on, and they've still got to set safety valves and things, and there's air brake issues and probably injector issues of some sort. I think the injector's problem's probably sorted itself. The main issue with 1919, if you've watched the stream before, you've probably seen it. It's the steam locomotive over in another shed. It's a standard gauge steam locomotive. It had regulator linkage issues in that when they pushed the regulator shut, it lifted the valve off the seat and sort of didn't work. So most of the steam and water was disappearing out the regulator and through the cylinders. So that was Monday morning. They were going to steam test it, and they got it up to 25 psi or something, and basically gave up on it. Pulled the regulator and the dome off and fixed it, put it back together, and they had it up to about 80 or 90, I think, during the afternoon. So the boiler inspector wasn't present, and it's just commissioning steam, so what it needs now is a date with the boiler inspector and some safety valve setting, and everything's ready to go. So that's what's happened with that. I have this sitting here, right? I've tripped over it for about 10 years, to be honest. Probably longer than that. About 1997, there you go, it's a rocker cover. Hey, Mark. Have this rocker cover since about 1997 or 98, I think. I don't know, something like that. My cousin and I were down a bush track. We couldn't get back out and found this at a mining camp. And we had to cut through a myrtle log, quite a big myrtle log, to get back out with a crosscut saw that we'd only just bought at an antique shop, with only a Leatherman to sharpen it. So we got it up and running pretty good, and we run 6 foot out in the middle of a dry myrtle log, about 3 foot through. It was across the road, probably deliberately, and managed to get going and get out because we couldn't go back the way we come, on account of the steepness and the slipperiness of it all. So the myrtle log we actually split off quite a few sections and I brought home. And my thoughts were to make a floor mirror or hall mirror out of it, with an upright here and an upright on that one, there and there, in a nice timber with a swivel round top hall mirror in Tasmanian myrtle. That was the idea originally. Now, 30 years have passed and I've moved it around. I've moved this part around from place to place for the last quite considerable amount of time. And it hasn't got any closer to working, but now I'm working at the sawmill. Maybe it will. I haven't got the myrtle anymore though. I think that got donated to someone. So, not sure about that. Not sure what the story is or what we're going to do. Might have to find a pack of myrtle somewhere or a few boards and make a mirror. If this was cleaned up and filled and gloss coated, and the Leyland Motors plate was polished up and the oil filler was polished up, and we put some nice timber uprights and some legs underneath to support it, I think this would be very nice. It's a lot longer than 30 years, to be honest. Let's have a look at this. See what's actually written on here, because I haven't looked at it for a while. It says Leyland Motors. I'm going to need a light or something better. I don't know what it is. Leyland Motors Limited. There's an engine number. Take my glasses off even so I can see that. Engine type is tappet clearance of 20 thou, cold. It's obviously a diesel because it says injection is 26 degrees before top dead centre. Firing order 153624, so it's a 6-cylinder diesel of some sort. With this plate, I'm guessing if it's a diesel, it's not much before 1935. But this is stuck, by the way. So I think this is clean up, and this is polish up, and we could use these stud hole somehow to sort some timber out, and we could put some nice machined timber legs under it. So, how long is it? Isn't that a rather personal question? It's 33 days, sir. 33 days. I'll find something. I'll probably be down in Tasmania before too long. I'm still planning that. I've got no idea when. And I could pick something up. But I think Huon might be a bit soft. But it wants a floor to ceiling mirror about 5 foot tall, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to find some plans. Haven't really looked at it. It may not even happen. The other thing we could do is just make a mirror for a benchtop mirror for vanity or something. But so it's off a diesel truck, a Leyland diesel, probably a Hippo or a Boxer or something from probably the 40s or 50s, because I don't reckon there's many 1930s Leyland diesels in Tasmania. I'd say it's off a 1950s truck. The interesting thing about Tasmania, and Australia in particular, is that there can be things like this which you would find probably in a mechanic's workshop or a sawmill workshop of some size and establishment if they had a big truck like this. A diesel truck from 1950 maybe, which is 70 years ago, was only 40 years before I found it. And it can be in the most desolate, out of the way, unexplored, uninhabited place you've ever seen, with absolutely no sign of habitation or buildings. That's a common thing. So huge towns disappeared in 30 years to the point that there's nothing. Anyway, it wasn't on a truck, it was sitting in the dirt, probably buried, and probably it was a metal detector find. But yeah, if the rest of the truck had been there, I probably would have made some inquiries and hopefully decided that it wasn't a part of my future. But you never would, everything might have changed. Anyway, hey John. So that's a project that I've had for 30 years or more, something like that. It might not have been 97 sounds about right. It come from somewhere between in a line somewhere between Mount Morris and Derby, I would say. Little bit south of Mount Paris Dam. I reckon that's where it come from. Anyway. So they're all things that we're putting away and finding and discovering and wondering what on earth we're going to do, where we're going to put them or what we're going to do. It's a bit of it messes with my mind a bit, to be honest. So yeah, James, it sort of was archaeological find. I reckon a big sawmill in that area, or it might have been on a water pump, but probably a big sawmill. It might have had a diesel engine truck in the 40s, 50s. I'd say it's a 50s truck. And it might make a really nice mirror with a coat of paint and some cleaning out. A huge big workshop. The trouble is I've got to share at the moment with 7 others and probably more. So I've got to consolidate all my stuff into this space between that panel and that column pretty much. That's my workshop space at this point. Not doing real well with that. I might get another bay further into the shed. I don't know. We'll see. But it's a bit of an ordeal. Our print's up to 27%, 22%, so it's doing all right. That's our hasn't come off the board or anything. Seems to be still pretty flat and all that stuff. So that's our main bearing, or big end bearing for a Marshall 8 horsepower traction engine. That's the casting that's coming out of that. And plenty of sorting time. The trouble is it's stinking hot, right? It's crazy hot. And I work pretty hard physically, probably harder than I've worked for a long time, probably since I was about 25, 30. I haven't worked this hard, continuously day in, day out. And there's also other things like organising this club, and we've got to put that back door in some point this weekend. I've got to go and pick out some wheelie bins for recycling, and I really probably should go and do some grocery shopping and buy some other things on Friday afternoon, and then Saturday and Sunday the gang will be here. So realistically, I would like to have some space cleared before then, whether it's all just stacked over. I might put one of those shelving units together over there beside that one. There's one shelving unit there, I might put another one beside it. And then most of this stuff I can stack in there that's in the middle here. Maybe. This grinder could go back on the yellow cabinet. I think that's where it's going to live, maybe. If John's still there, is there a DeWalt, because he's a DeWalt tool expert, is there a DeWalt lockable cabinet to hang power tools in? Is something available? I have not seen it, but I had a bit of a look, because one of them on the wall to put all my pad drills and stuff in would be really helpful. So I've got tools coming out my ears. Apart from that, my oxy equipment come out of this drawer here on the welding cabinet. And that's in with the 1919, because I need to super solder some pipes. They never had anything, so I've got to go and get that. And there's also a tap and die set that I need them. So I've got to go and get that too, and then I've got to find somewhere to put it. So that's a bit of a job. First 5 years, probably. Don't break myself. I'm really enjoying the job. I'm okay, but I'm I'm seriously thinking I could do with some sleep, and last night wasn't one of those nights that happened, so that doesn't help. Apart from that, I think it's slowly sorting itself out. Need to sort out all the casting patterns I've got. Now, there is a lot of casting patterns. For projects of various types and sorts. Some finished, some not so much. They need to be all put in a box. There's a reamer set in the bottom there that needs to go in a toolbox somewhere. There's 2 bits of steel that need to go in the offcuts rack. There's an electric motor that's got to go over there on that little, that's behind that door, but there's a little or a big fret saw that I'd like to, or scroll saw, fret saw that I'd like to get sorted and sold. There's sets of castings here everywhere in boxes, some which I know I'll never get finished or never get started even. There's a 1937 Gazelle bush bike there, which I'd love to get finished now. I've got means and space to probably actually get in and do it. And then it'd go well with the roller. It'd look good inside the roller. I'd love to get that restored. So at some point that will, but it's in about 4 of those boxes and the frame's upstairs. Anyway, apart from that, that's sort of where we're at. That's what's happening. At some point during this weekend, it'd be very nice to get this engine on some skids with some wheels under it so we can move it around. Probably just 2 bits of 6x6 with some big casters on it. So we can push it around the floor. It'd be very good. We'll see what happens with that. I don't even know what's in most of these boxes. This seems to be full of fragile things because it's got bubble wrap in it. I need to do something about moving that before someone drops it. I'm just saying these are all things I've got to do, but yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering, I've got these which come from America, which are very good for drills and milling cutters and things. I don't have a lot of milling cutters that are not in boxes. Don't know what to do with them. Seem too good to throw away. Something I won at the Barzy somewhere bash raffle. Just digging through stuff. This is measuring gear and stuff like that, orange boxes and red boxes and things. I need to do something with that. Anyway, there's an axe handle there to go in a new axe that Dan left here the other day. I haven't got to that yet. I'd like to get that done before the weekend too, but I've run out of time. Might happen Friday afternoon. These are empty boxes. They do exist. They were full, but now they're empty. There's a Lee dovetail jig there that I've got to put somewhere. I don't know what to do with that. I really kind of don't want to get rid of it, but I'm sort of wondering how much time I'm going to have to actually use it. I could sell the roller. If I sold the roller, then all these projects I could get done. Maybe. Anyway, it's crazy talk. Anyway, I might call it, guys. Thanks heaps for tuning in. You've seen the state of play here. Hopefully next week it's a little bit more organised and cleaned up and tidy. I believe that we're going to have a bit of a working bay around the back with an excavator and a bobcat or something. and clear some space for a shed and some living quarters for me, which means I've actually got to save some money and actually buy some living quarters. I don't know how that's going to go, but that's something that's going to happen this weekend. I wonder whether this engine's going to end up on some sort of a stand so we can move it around. That'd be really nice. And we'd like to get that back door, which is, if you have a look, it's over there behind the milling machine. I'll zoom in. There's an exit door there. Bill, your new axe with the handle is pretty lousy. I'm going to say that because the new axe with the handle is made in China. And the first time you hit something with it, the Chinese handle breaks off. Ask John Pettit or anyone else how they know that, because it's been a thing. And the new axe is pretty lousy. Whereas this is a half decent little axe, and the handle's probably not going to cost him anything, so he's doing all right there. But that door goes, I believe, over here in this wall here, somewhere in the back of the shed. It gets some ventilation through here. We need to move some wires first, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm probably going to call this, guys. Really appreciate you all signing and tuning in and saying hello. I've become more and more convinced that this little bandsaw only has a broken wire or something. I'm going to pull that apart and fix it at some point too in the next few days. Keep you posted on that. But that's what's happening. Going to go to bed and leave this printer running, I think, and have it done by morning and put some spray filler on it and send some pictures through to Steve and tell him that it's sort of looking all right. Still got a printed core box. Anyway, we'll catch you guys, and thank you.